So, I haven't written anything in a while, I haven't read anything in a while, and I was watching a video by a friend of mine, well, actually by a friend of mine, a friend of an LJ friend of mine, which is a whole new category of friend, JDXAD on YouTube, and so I was inspired after watching some of his videos to read from some of my own writing about my own experiences. I started transitioning in on July 1st, 1997. Yeah, that was like 13 years ago almost, and this is what can happen when you take testosterone for a long time. So don't get too attached to the hair on your head. Yeah, I don't really have anything interesting to say off the cuff, so I'm just going to read a little piece from a very long piece, which I've been working on for a very long time. Those of you who critique continuity in film will notice that now I am wearing glasses. However, you did not get to see me put them on. But putting on and taking off glasses is not something that's particularly titillating, as far as I know. So, yeah, glasses now. This is because the screen is over there and I'm over here, and I don't see so well. This is how this piece goes. The ironies of becoming a white male have not escaped me, although I am not entirely sure that this is what I have become, so much as this is where most people see me standing now. So many presumptions. I await my six-figure salary and will probably still be waiting next time we speak. Expectations don't change so easily, and neither do notions of entitlement. No matter what they tell you, it is not suddenly a free ride. That it were. That I had some idea of how to garner considerations and at the same time feel that they were my due. It still surprises me to be looked at in the eye, but at the same time it pisses me off that they didn't used to, as though it were not me then, or it is not me anymore. Of course, this is entirely possible, but that is not the point. On the other hand, it is good not to be stared down by middle America when standing in line for the bathroom. I'm telling you, this whole restroom ordeal is the focal point of unheard-of trauma in the life of the not strictly gendered, and there was a time in my life when I found middle to aging ladies the most intimidating persons to have to deal with, while trying to get to a place to pee. Men, on the other hand, will do anything possible not to look at you as you make your way into a stall, so no one in the men's room even knows what you look like, much less cares, although I have to ask you this, and that is, why is there a glory hole in the stall at school? We're talking several flights of stairs to get to academic offices tucked into a corner of the building, so it is not as though men looking for anonymous blowjobs roam the hallways there in large numbers. Or maybe they do. Maybe I don't know the men in my department very well. I did not recognize the glory hole for what it was when I first saw it, as it was my very first glory hole, and after a lifetime of hearing the glory hole mythologized, I never, I suppose, expected actually to run into one. Of course, this inability to recognize the glory hole was only exacerbated by the fact that for 35 years I only went into women's rooms, where you will find no glory holes, and indeed very little acknowledgement of the tacit sexuality of the public restroom. That, and in this particular men's room, people had been poking pen-sized holes through the plastic stall wall for some time, which holes I supposed were for catching furtive glimpses. So, when a hole 2.5 inches in diameter appeared, my first thought was, man, they must really want to see. Then I realized. The realization was helped along upon noticing certain spatters, which would have otherwise had to have come from, say, a squirt gun, although I suppose in a way they did. I thought you all used tissues or towels. You wonder, don't you, why would they build men's stalls with easily penetrated plastic, given the myth of the glory hole, a myth so widespread that denizens of women's rooms know all about their function, if not their appearance, years before ever seeing one. Interestingly, this glory hole is perfectly smoothly circular. Is there a specialized tool for this, or do humanities students at Berkeley carry cordless drills in their book bags? The glory hole complicates considerably my efforts to pee unnoticed. At least once a day, though, someone stuffs toilet paper into it. But oddly, before the end of the day, the wad of paper will be removed, which makes me wonder just when the thing gets used. I'm just going to add here, what did people expect the paper actually to do? Keep people from using the glory hole? I'm not sure. I suppose they put it in there for privacy, but it never stayed for long. Anyway, in any case, for some reason I don't want to be the killjoy who blocks the hole, so instead I do all I can not to be exposed before anyone who might be in the next stall. This is how it happens, you see, or this is how it gets talked about. Would it surprise you to know that I sometimes talk out loud to myself about whatever is going on? You think that if it weren't for the passage of time, nothing would go on, but if there were no one to make it out, it is quite possible that nothing would go on insofar as going on needs an auditor, and without it all is blind traumatic force. Then again, I have no reason to dispute the assertion that even those who stand about making things out, I can never get that line right. Then again, I have no reason to dispute the assertion that even those who stand about making things out spend their days and nights at the service of blind traumatic force. Someday, somewhere, I will explain what I mean. In the meantime, this is how it happens, and if you wish I would just get to it, all I can say in my defense is that getting to it involves so much more than you probably think, and some of it is the bloodiest job imaginable. And if what I am to do is to shed blood, I would at least like to do it lyrically and with delicacy, a drop here and there. In the meantime, this is how this happens. I don't use a stand-and-pee device. I used to. A stand-and-pee device, you see, is something like a funnel, which you use when you are standing to channel your stream out in front of you instead of letting it sprinkle your feet. There are many types available. Well, there are two more or less mass-marketed to women, and there is an ad hoc and continuously varying collection of make-do items marketed to F to Ms, often by other F to Ms, but not always. But all of them require not only a place to carry them on your person and a deftness of touch to utilize them discreetly when needed, but also a way to rinse them out in between uses without anyone noticing, and a certain dexterity to keep the business that should be coming out the business end actually coming out there instead of backing up and spilling over. And so after several months of trying to stand to pee, I decided, fuck this. My body, you see, is constructed such that the most convenient way to pee is sitting down, and this will remain so until and unless they develop a foolproof way to fashion an extended urethra, which they have not yet. So fuck this. I'm sitting to pee, and dang it, but the people who design restrooms should make sure that the men have a place to sit if they need to. Really, this is very simple, but the assumption that all men can pee standing up is erroneous and responsible for far more grief than probably you have imagined. So now you know, and I don't know why you would want to know, but I've been told that you might, so let's see how lively I can make it for you. These sorts of things happen every day to pretty much everybody. Not all at once, of course, and possibly even in different lifetimes to different people. But what can happen to a body is not in the least something to be horrified at in its monstrosity, but instead should be invited to pull up a chair. For one of the most interesting things in the universe is that everyone owns at least one chair, and it is uncannily shaped like a body, sitting or reclining. That's the end of this excerpt from a longer piece, and I have 1 minute and 30 seconds left before YouTube will cut me off. So I'm just going to do this and say thank you for listening, and that's all.